Okay, hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Code with Drew. So today we are going to be creating an Hangman game with Python. So to create this Hangman game with Python, first thing we need to do is to import our Python module called random. So we want to just go ahead and import random, right? So in this game, we are going to be having a picture representation of this Hangman, and there will be a world, and in this world the player is meant to try and guess each letter with a specific numbers of trial to guess this game. So in this world now, so you guess a particular word and you have a specific numbers of trials to get the right word. Then we keep on trying to draw a representation of a man that is being armed. So that's what we're going to do now. So first of all, we want to have a list with, and this list now we're having a representation of this animal. So just go ahead and define it right here. Okay, so I just paste it right here now. So pasting it right here now, here we have, this is with the first picture when the player needs to first get the first incorrect guess, and this is the second one whereby we draw the head of the player. So from there now we go ahead to do more of this. So I'll just go ahead and copy this part now and paste it again below. So I like to show this like this. So now what we want to have here now is to draw another representation of this. So we just have this right here. Okay, we have it this way now. So now we are drawing the neck of this player. So just go ahead now, copy this, then come here again. Okay, so we paste this here now. So right here now, what we want to do, we want to have the arms, the arm of the player. So we just go ahead and have a slash like this, and just something like this. Then now we want to have the other arm in the representation. So go ahead and paste this. So just fix this so the structure is okay. So we want to have the other arm right here. Okay, so now we have the other arm as followed that after the incorrect guess there. So after now we want to have the legs also. So in the incorrect guess now also want to have the legs, right? So the legs is going to be here. We're going to try this way. Okay, so now we're having the first leg. And we go again. Okay, I'll just make this short. This is all right. So copy this now, paste it. So now we'll paste this now. We are having the second leg. All right, so that's the end of our list. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's the numbers of trial the player has to guess the correct letter then. So we want to have a list of words right now. So I'm just going to go ahead and just define a function that is going to help us to choose our words. So I just go ahead right here and say dev choose words. So we have this function now called choose words. It has no arguments. Then now we are just going to have a list of words, right? So I would like to have Python right here. Python So we have Python developer Hangman function. So developer. So let's go ahead and have Hangman. We also have function right here. So let's add two more words there. Variable. You can add more words to it also. Then we have program. So these are the words we are going to have right here. Then we want to return one of these words itself. So we just go ahead right here and say return. And this is where we use a random module we imported right from the beginning. So you can see we import a random module right here. So this is where we're going to use this random module now. So I'm just going to say random.choice. Then we want to make a choice from these words. And now after we make a choice, just want to make sure that we convert this to lowercase just to be at the safer side when this function is being called. Okay, so the next function we want to have now is a function that will display this word out there. So if I just go ahead and say dev display word now, so I'm having a function that displays this word right here. I'm having an argument here called word, then guessed letters. These are the letters that the player has gotten correctly. So now we display this word, and what we want to do right here is we want to have an empty string right here, and we want to join this. Okay, this is a function that we can use with string. This is a string function whereby we can join different strings together, different characters together. So what we want to do here now, we want to have a one-liner, right? A one-liner if statement right here. So I'll just go ahead and say letter, if letter, okay, if letter now in guessed letters, else. Hold on, I'm going to explain this in a while. Else dash for letter in word. So what we want to do right here now is for letter in words. So after we run this for letter in words, we are going through the word that has been chosen right here. So for letter in words now, if letter in guessed letters, which is the other parameter right here. So if this letter is present in guessed letter, we want to display the letter, else we want to display dash. So just to show this now, I'll just go ahead and say okay, let me just call this display word right here, and the first parameter, let me put in okay, let me just have this list. Okay, the first parameter, let me just put in Python, and now the guessed letters right here, we have a list, right? So let me just have a list. Let me say P has been guessed right, all right. So if I should go ahead and run this now, let's see what I'm having. Okay, so there's a problem right here. This symbol right here is an escape sequence. So to make sure that we are putting in this right there, we use this sign for an escape sequence in Python. To make sure that we are just putting in one of it, we need to make sure it is double, so Python can know that we are trying to use an escape sequence right here. So just go ahead and double this, and okay, right here also. So we should not have any problem with that again. So I will run this now. Okay, forget to add print here. So I'll just go ahead and say print this. Okay, so if I should run this now, we have P, right? The word is Python. So for letter in word, so now it's going through this word one by one. So if this letter is already in the guessed letters, we want to print out the letter. Otherwise, we want to have this dash. But since it's not in the guessed letter, that's why we're having, since the remaining of the letters are not in the guessed letters. That's why we are having dash there. So if I should add letter O now to this guest letters and I run this again, now we can see that instead of that dash, that underscore, we are having letter O right here. So that's how that function works. So we proceed now to our next function. Okay, now which is going to get what we guessed, right? So this is just going to get the input from the user. So I'm just going to go ahead and call this def. Okay, let's go ahead and call this def get guess, right? So this is get guess, and this is going to get a parameter here, guess letters. So which is the letters we've guessed already. So what we want to do now is to always run this while the program is true. So while the program is true now, so while true, what do we want to do? We want to ask this user for an input. So this should be a small letter W. So once that user for an input, and now how do you get the input? It's just by saying, we want to say guess now is equals to input, and now the user is going to enter an input, right? We want to say guess a letter. That's it, right? Want to get a letter and want to convert whichever input the user entered to a lowercase, right? So don't forget that we converted this to a lowercase to just make sure that our program is consistent, because Python is very case sensitive. So to make sure our program is very consistent, we need to make sure that everything is converted to a lowercase. So now we converted this to a lowercase. We want to check if this length now, if the length of the guess itself is equals to 1, because we want to make sure that the user is only able to make one guess, right? And guess is an alphabet, right? So you're not allowed to guess to input numbers into your guess, because we're dealing with words right here. So all these conditions must be true for us to execute the next code, right? And guess not in guessed letters. So once we make sure that all these conditions are true, then if these conditions are true, we want to return guess. And otherwise, if they're not true, we want to print out invalid inputs. So we just go ahead and say invalid inputs right here, and we say please enter a single new letter. So we're telling the user enter a single new letter if the guess is not in letter right here. So if we should go ahead and try to run this, so I'll just go ahead and print get guessed right here, and okay, I'll give it a list now of some words, and let's just say A, P, C. So if I should go ahead and run this now, we are asked to guess a letter, right? If I should enter 3, it said an invalid input, so I need to enter a single letter. So if I enter multiple letters now, same thing, right? And if I enter E is not present, but though it printed out the E, it returned the E. So it's going to check if this E now is actually the correct guess or not. And if I see now, if I should run this, okay, I should enter A right here. Okay, so we can see because A is actually in the guessed letters that has been guessed already, it entered, it's tell us that this is an invalid input. So we cannot guess something that we've previously entered before. We're only allowed to guess this once. So T will work right or right too. So I'll just go ahead and get rid of this. So now what we want to do now is to have our main function that has the Hangman function. So this is the main function of the game that will play the Hangman game. So we'll go ahead right here and just say something like, okay, first we want to pick our word, and to do that we just call it choose word. So it's going to pick a random word for us. Then we want to say, want to have a guessed letter variable, right? So we're just going to say, go ahead and say guessed, okay, guessed letters. and it's just going to be a set, right? I'm just going to set this to an empty set. Then I want to go ahead and say incorrect guesses, so we can keep track of how many incorrect guesses the player has made, right? So incorrect guesses, now just go ahead and say this incorrect guesses is equals to 0 by default. Okay, so now after we have these incorrect guesses, we want to have max attempts. And what do you mean by max attempt? That's like, okay, that's the maximum amount of guess we want our player to have. So max attempt right here is going to be the numbers of the picture representation we have in our. So just go ahead again and say this as max attempt. It's going to be the length of the picture representation we have in the Hangman pics right from the beginning right here. So that's what it's going to be. So now this is the max attempt right here. Now we want to get into the main game itself, but we don't just want this to just be 1, because remember that this index is starting from 0, but we want to be relating to woman, so it's going to be 1. It's going to be like from 1 to the end, but when you use length, it's like starting from 1 to the end of the list. But in the programming, we start from 0 to 6, but now it's 1 to 7. So we want to subtract 1 to get rid of that, to make sure that we prevent any error. So we just print out this now. Welcome to Hangman 2 Hangman. So this is welcome to Hangman. What do we want to do now? We want to just enter a loop now. So what incorrect guesses right here is less than max attempt. We want to keep on prompting the user for some Hangman this thing. So we just go ahead and print out the Hangman pick first. I want to choose the index of the incorrect guesses. So we're using the incorrect guesses now to know to use as the index to know the picture we are showing the player, right? So if there's just one incorrect guess, we reveal the first in the element for you. 2, we reveal the second in the element to you, right? Second picture representation in the element. So we just go ahead now and say print out. So just go ahead and put a new line here, so it will not be on the same line as the Hangman picture representation. So we just go ahead and say word right here, and we want to add this now using concatenation, right? We want to concatenate this with display word. So this display word, our function now, we are putting in the word we have right here, the one we picked from this choosing word. Then we want to have the guessed letters. That's letter that have been guessed already by the user. So after this now, we want to go ahead and print out. So I'm going to use an string format right here. Incorrect guesses. So we want to keep track of the incorrect guesses the users are already. So just go ahead and say incorrect guesses. Now we will say now incorrect guesses now, then over max attempt, so you can keep track of how many guesses you have left. So just go ahead and say guess now is equals to get guess, right? So we are getting the guess and we are putting in the guess letters as the argument there. Then guess letters dot. So after you've guessed, again we want to say guess letter dot add guess. So we want to add the latest guess to the guess letter, so we can keep track of that. So we don't want the user to still be able to enter the same guess letter that he has previously guessed before. So if guess is in word, we want to print out good guess, right? So we just want to go ahead and complement the player and just say good guess, right? So otherwise now what do we want to do? We just want to go ahead and say, okay, just scroll down a bit. Okay, wrong guess. So now we say wrong guess, and we want to print out it. Want to increment the incorrect guesses first. So incorrect guesses plus equal 1. So now we are with we've increased the incorrect guesses right here. We want to check this set. So if sets word now dot is subset of guess letters. So if these letters right here, if the guess letter are subset of this set word, can remember here we say guess letter is a set, right? So we turn this word itself to a set, and now we check if this guess letter is a subset, which means they have the same element in both of them, right? If it's a subset, we want to print out congratulations right here. So just go ahead and say, okay, don't forget to add your new line, escape character, new line right here. Just go ahead and say congratulations right here. Congratulations. So just go ahead and say congratulations. You guessed the word. So we just want to like, okay, have the word at the end right here. So we just print out the word right here. And right here we just go ahead and say and just return nothing. So just to break out of this loop itself. So we have it that way. So we come outside the loop here and we print Hangman pick incorrect guess. Okay, Hangman pick incorrect guesses. So that means what we are doing right here now, if we are not returning at this period and this loop is already over, which means you were not able to get the correct guesses throughout this period. What we just want to go ahead and do is print out right here. We want to say game over. Okay, don't tell the user game over. Now the word was, so you just have give the user the word, and now we can go ahead and run our game right now. So I'll just say if. So let's go ahead and run this program now. So if name is equals to name. Okay. So if name is equals to main, just want to go ahead and say Hangman. So our code is ready. So let's go ahead and run this game now. Okay. So now we have welcome to Hangman. This is the game. So we have to guess a word right here, and we have 6-letter word here. So I'll just go ahead and say T, and yes, T is part of the word. So if I go ahead and say U, okay, U was a wrong guess, and now I can see my Hangman picture already showing me the head of this game. So if I go ahead now and see R, okay, R is also a wrong guess. Now I can see now the neck is already available. H, so H is in the word. Now I can go ahead and say I too was wrong. Now I can see my arm. G too was wrong, right? So I'm just go ahead and say P right now. Now I say W, that was wrong. B, that was wrong. Keep over, the word was Python, right? So now we can see that this Hangman representation, that yes, this man I'll be hanged because I was not able to get the correct word in time. So we have another word right here, P. Tell me this is Python again. Get it? So let's just try and get this time around. Ish. So now congratulations, you get the correct word. So just go ahead and run this again to make sure that it's not always giving us Python as a choice. So P right here now, that's a wrong guess. That's because now this time around this is not Python. So I'll go with A, and I have two A's right here. So I is not here. So what else can I enter here? So let's say ish. Okay, so this is Hangman. So yes, now you can see we have the correct. So that'll be all for today's tutorial. And let me just give an overview of what we've done. So we import random module so that we can pick a random word from the list we have. Then we have an Hangman pick list right here, which is just a picture representation of a man being hanged right here. And we have the process first, the head, the neck, the arms right here, and we have the legs, right? So we have a function called choose words, right? Choose words, which is just going to pick a random word from this list. Then we have a function that will display a word right here, which have an empty list and an empty string, and using this join. Yeah, and what we do here is to look through this word for each letter in this word right here. We want to check if this letter is in this guest letter. If it's in the guest letter, we want to return the letter. Otherwise, we just want to return dash. That's what we are doing right here. We just want to like add this dash to this. There, and we're repeating the same thing for each and every word right there. Then we have this function called get guess, which is just going to prompt the user for a guess, and it's going to make sure that this guess is equals to 1, and it's an alphabet and it's not in guess letter. Then it's going to return guess. So invalid input now, please enter a single letter. Then we have the main function of the game right here, which is Hangman. Welcome to Hangman. I'm just going to do like that. So that'll be all for today. See you next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Bye.